The ancient Hebrews, the Israelites, were descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob was renamed Israel. Jacob and Israel were one and the same person. From Israel came 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel were descended from Israel. They eventually divided into two sections. Two sections to the descendants of Israel. Those centered in the north, to the north, were collectively known as Israel, or as Ephraim, or as Samaria. And they comprised the tribes of Reuben, of Gad, of Simeon, Asher, Dan, Naphtali, Issachar, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh. There were 10 tribes altogether in the north. 10 tribes in the north. The tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh were brother tribes, who were descended from Joseph, but they were separate tribes, each in its own right. Altogether, there were really 13 tribes, but by omitting Levi, who was a priestly tribe, or including Levi and counting Ephraim and Manasseh as the one tribe of Joseph, a quorum of 12 is maintained. Okay, so the Bible always mentions 12 tribes. In effect, there were 13 tribes. The bottom line is that Judah, the entity of Judah, became two, and the entities of Judah and Israel, that is the 10 tribes, became two separate entities. Jeremiah quotes the Almighty as saying that the entity of Joseph, that is the 10 tribes, Ephraim had been given a bill of divorce by the Almighty. He had been considered not part of the religious entity. See Jeremiah 3, verse 8. So too, Hosea, the prophet Hosea, it refers to the northern section as being alien offspring. Alien offspring. See Hosea 5:7. And as not being the people of God, God says, I will not be their God. See Hosea 1:9. This, however, will change in the future. The 10 tribes will once again be accepted. 1:10. And where it said, unto you, you are not my people, it will be said unto you, you are my people. 10 tribes lost awareness of the Israelite origins and moved to Western Europe. From there, they moved to North America, Australia, and New Zealand. But they had forgotten awareness of their ancestry, of their origins. But nevertheless, they comprise a good portion, possibly the majority of the peoples in those areas. Meanwhile, in the south, centered on Jerusalem, was Judah, that is the tribes of Judah, Benjamin and Levi, referred to collectively as Judah, and they also included minority segments of the other tribes who had reached them in one way or another. Collectively, they are referred to as Judah. From them came the Jewish people. Task of the Jews, of Judah, was to keep the laws of Judaism. According to the Bible, they were to be scattered all over the earth, to take in converts, to develop the law, and to be persecuted for their religion. Eventually, they will return to the land of Israel and prepare the way for the other tribes. The future Messiah, son of David, will come from Judah. Members of the Jewish religion identified by the Bible, in the Bible, as Judah. This is all we need. Most Jews may well be of Israelite descent, but even if they were not, according to the Bible, they are still defined as Judah. That is the bottom line. The Jews are Judah. The Bible gives us points of recognition concerning who is Judah. Judah will always have been recognized as Judah. and only Judah. In Genesis 49, verse 10 says the scepter, that is in Hebrew the Shevet, the sign is the Shevet, the sign of tribal recognition. The Shevet, translated the scepter, shall not depart from Judah, nor the student of the lawmaker from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of peoples, until the end times, when the Messiah will come, and all the peoples of Israel will gather unto him. Meanwhile, the Jews of Judah will have kept the law. See Psalm 60:90, Psalms 108:90, Genesis 49:10, Zechariah 8:28. Judah is my lawgiver, says the Psalms 60:90. Judah is my lawgiver. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, Ephraim is the strength of my head. Judah is my lawgiver. Judah was the one who gave the law, decided how the law is to be carried out. Also, the Jews will have kept the four fasts concerning the destruction of the temple. See Zechariah 8:19. Zechariah 8:19 says the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, the fast of the 5th month, the fast of the 7th month. The fast of the 10th month shall be the house of Judah for joy and happiness and for happy days, for love, truth, and peace. So these four fasts are the fasts commemorating the destruction of the temple, and they will have been kept by Judah. The fast of the 4th month is 17th of Tammuz, the fast of the 5th month, the 9th of Ab, fast of the 7th, the 3rd of Tishrei, fast of Gedalia, fast of the 5th, the 10th of Tebat. All of these four fasts have been kept from Judah and are still kept by Judah. This is proof of Judah. So the Jews will have been persecuted. See Zechariah 1:15, Zechariah 8:13-15, Isaiah chapter 53. See Psalms 44:22. For it is for your sake that we were killed all the time, that we are considered as sheep, for the slaughter. The Jews of Judah will have been incorrectly known as Israel, because Israel, strictly speaking, refers to the 10 tribes of Israel, or to all of Israel. Nevertheless, the Jews will have been identified as Israel, whereas the others will have not been. See Isaiah 48:1. Isaiah says, hearken to this, the house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Israel, and who emanated from the waters of Judah, who swear by the name of the Lord and make mention of the God of Israel, neither in truth nor in righteousness. Also in their places of exile, Judah will have been defenseless. See Hosea 1:17. See Hosea 1:7, or Psalms 44:2-3. Hosea 1:7 says, but the house of Judah will grant clemency, I will save them by the Lord their God, but will not save them with a bow, nor with the sword, nor with war, nor with steeds, as horses, or with riders. Psalms 44:4. But not by their sword did they inherit the land, nor did their arm save them, but your right hand and your arm, the light of your countenance, for you favored them. Even though the Jews came back to the land of Israel, and the land of Israel was given to them by the British, despite everything, the British gave the land of Israel to descendants of Judah, but in the end the Jews had to fight for it. The Jews had to fight for it, and they fought for it, and they won. They fought for it after in effect it had been given to them, despite everything. Also, the Jews will have been an old line and a new one. See Genesis 49:8-12. An old new nation that the early Zionists, they wrote, Theodor Herzl helped establish early Zionist movement, and he wrote an important book called Old New Land, the Old New Land. Also, the new city of Tel Aviv, the Zionist city of Tel Aviv, has a name connoting an old new land, an old new nation. Judah will be an old line and a new one. See Genesis 49:8 onwards. It says, Judah, as for you, your brothers will acknowledge you. The brothers of Judah will own up to him. Your hand will be at the nape of your enemies, and your father's sons will prostrate themselves to you. A cub and a grown lion is Judah. From the prey, my son, you withdrew. He crouched, he rested like a lion, in Hebrew an aryeh, and like a mature lion, in Hebrew a levi. Who will rouse him? The scepter, that is the Shevet connoting tribe, tribal recognition, shall not depart from Judah, nor the student of the law from between his feet until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of the peoples. The lineages of a baby in the house of Judah will be present amongst Judah. In the end times, the Jews will possess the coastlands of Palestine. See Zephaniah 2:4-7. Zephaniah 2:4, it says, for Gaza shall be deserted, Gaza that is Uzzah, and Ashkelon shall become wasteland. Ashdod at noon shall drive her out, and Ekron shall be uprooted. Woe to the inhabitants of the seacoast, meaning the present-day Philistines, the present-day Palestinians, the nations of Kerethites. The word of the Lord is against you, Canaan, land of the Philistines, and I will destroy you. There shall not be inhabited. The seacoast shall be brickless. The seacoast shall be breakfast nooks for shepherds and sheepfolds. And it shall be a lot for the remnant of the house of Judah, whereupon they shall pasture. In the houses of Ashkelon they shall lie down in the evening, for the Lord their God shall visit upon them, and return their captivity. That is when God brings back the Jews from their exile. They will live in Ashkelon and the seacoast, and eventually the areas of Gaza and other Palestinian habitations. Judah will dwell in Jerusalem. See Zechariah 14:14. Judah shall fight in Jerusalem, the wealth of all the nations round about. Gold and silver and apparel will be gathered in very great abundance. Judah shall also fight at Jerusalem. Judah will be present in Jerusalem. The Jews of Judah will return before the 10 tribes. See Micah 4:8. Will make the limping one into a remnant, and the scattered one into a mighty nation. The Lord shall reign over them on Mount Zion from now and forever. The limping one refers to the 10 tribes of Israel, according to rabbinical commentators. The scattered one refers to the Jews of Judah. And to you, tower of the flock, the tower of the daughter of Zion, to you shall it come, yea. The former kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. The former kingdom of Judah that once existed will return to them, and they will be centered on Jerusalem. Also, it says in Isaiah 6:11, Judah too, there's a harvest appointed to you, when I will return the backsliding of my people. There's Isaiah 6:11, harvest appointed to you, according to the commentaries. It's quoted by Rabbi Tzvi Kadisha. They will prepare a harvest to prepare the way for the lost 10 tribes when they return. Manasseh ben Yisrael 1604-1657 emphasizes that Judah was to be scattered, whereas the lost 10 tribes were to be gathered in a few selected areas. Manasseh ben Yisrael says, Manasseh ben Yisrael 1604-1657, he says, that is Isaiah the prophet 27:13, calls the Israelites outcasts, but the Jews scattered, because the 10 tribes are not only far off from the far land, from the Holy Land, but also live in the extremities and ends of countries. From whence the prophet casts them out. But he does not say that the Israelites will be gathered from the four corners of the earth, because they're not so dispersed through the world as the tribe of Judah is. The tribe of Judah was scattered all over the earth, and they will be gathered in, and now have synagogues, not only 3 parts of the world, but also in America. So the Messiah, son of David, will come to Judah and to the whole world and help save and reform the whole world. But before the Messiah, son of David, appears, there will come the Messiah, son of Joseph. who will come from Ephraim. Meanwhile, the descendants of Ephraim and the other tribes will have lost awareness of their ancestry. They will have become the lost 10 tribes of Israel. Eventually, they had moved to Northern Europe, and their descendants are to be found in the peoples of England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland. Also in Switzerland, or portions of Switzerland, or France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland. They gave rise to the countries of the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. All these countries, relatively speaking, were blessed ones in the material sense, had been prophesied. Also, the basic values emphasized individual dignity and human rights. Other nations also did the same, but very often not with the whole heart, and mainly due to their influence and an example. The English-speaking peoples were especially important, and they represent the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. Thank you, may the Lord God of Israel bless you.